Alright, are you done spinning now or what? Okay, now we're good. Alright, let me turn my sheet back on. What the fuck? Alright. Ow. Alright. Dude, I feel like I haven't streamed in like 5 months. Each yesterday equals 5 push-ups too. Okay, what are you after this whole push-up sheet? Been live for what? Like 2 minutes? Boop. Alright, so we got some disclaimers. First off, I still got a freaking cough. So, I can try and obviously not cough on the microphone. That's kind of the goal here. But, if that annoys you, I freaking apologize, alright? Freaking getting over that shit. Had that freaking beach for like freaking week now. It's freaking. Okay, what's the other disclaimers? My voice is still fooked up, even though it sounds, I think, fine, but I can't go high pitch like I usually do, so voice cracks all day. What else? I haven't played this game for what, a week and a half? Some shit? I don't really know. But yeah, that's the thing, some shit. So, is everything working? I haven't turned on my the computer in like a week and a half, so I probably should have done more testing, but you know me, I freaking suck. Let's do our annual freaking, or I should say daily test on the sheet. Oh, fuck, I had to watch a video, god. Everything is working the same as always? What, so it's broken? Wait, is it working though? Oh man, I forgot how freaking loud this game is to me. Alright, how do you play this game again? What are the buttons? Alright, so you got, okay, what's my sheet? Is it shift? That's freaking tab. Kinda knew that. Okay, then Z is that sheet. Okay, and then what is it? C is that sheet. Okay. What else? What else? The plus is my death. Right click, left click. Alright, go, got it. Alright. Alright, feeling good. Here we go. Here we go, first try. I remember nothing of this fight. I'm not gonna lie with you.
Why, boy? Enough talk. Been a while since we did this.
It's been a while. Yeah, it's oh, that's okay. That's okay. That's been a while. Oh, it's been a while. Okay, we're gonna be here for a hot minute. I gotta warm up. Well, I didn't dodge. I kind of forgot how to do it. Beach. You gonna freaking heal? Oh, that's the wrong button. Just like my streams. No. Yeah, we're gonna be here a while. This whole stream is probably just gonna be a freaking a warm-up stream anyways. I haven't touched this game in like a week. I can barely handle not touching it for what? 2 days. Jeez. I'm surprised everything's working though, that's good. Knowing me, I thought I would be coming back to everything breaking.
Enough talk. Been a while since we did this. Give me your all.
Oh, but yeah, I figured out that pretty much half of my work all got pretty much the same thickness that I got. That did not stop me from doing that. Okay.
The parent is absolute. Their will must be obeyed. Yet, I'm sensing some insubordination.
Oh, damn. So that happened while we were out for 2 weeks. Oh, wasn't exactly 2 weeks. Sorry, it was just 1 full week, right? Nah, it wasn't COVID. It was just some flu that was going around. I don't know. But it's kicking it. Oh God, it's kicking everybody's ass. So I just got a lot of freaking mucus. That's all I got, pretty much. I mean, I'm a little bit tired, so, but other than that, I think I'm Gucci. But yeah, it was freaking annoying.
Unthinkable. Enough talk. Been a while since we did this. Give me your all.
God damn, homie. What? 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 Was this guy always... Was this guy stopping me before? I know I've gotten to your... second phase for 4. That is not far enough. But yeah, it was just freaking weird, man. Like, I felt fine Thursday until like the last Thursday until like the end of towards like the end of the day. It's kind of all hit me. I was like, what the fuck? Oh, come on, homie.
Enough talk. Been a while since we did this. Give me your all.
Do I still suck this much? What? I shifted. Why did I just stand there? Bitch, I shifted away from that shit. Oh, fuck. I still see this game is so rigged. This game is so rigged. Oh, okay. Alright. This game is so rigged. Nothing changed. But yeah, my coworker Chase freaking got it pretty bad too. I don't think he has exactly what I don't know what he has, but he's got it worse than me. So, oh God. Alright, he's been feeling like shit for like a whole week, like bad. I'm like, oh shit.
Enough talk. Been a while since we did.
But I don't know. He gets sick. He gets sick a lot. What the fuck? His immune system is fucking garbage. Get your stupid ass up.
The parent is absolute.
Was up there getting sick? Dude, I don't fucking know. First it was you.
I'm sensing some subordination.
Every time I walk into that stupid ass attack. Oh, come on, my guy. See. Was I getting slapped this bad before? I feel like I was doing a little better, right? Did I forget how to like do stuff? Am I missing some seat?
Unthinkable.
Oh, shit.
Enough talk.
Been a while since we did this. Give me your all.
What the fuck did I do different? Kick your ass last time. Ah, I cannot stop that. What? Oh, alright, no. Are you gonna parry? No? Okay.
The parent is absolute. Their will must be obeyed. Yet, I'm sensing some insubordination.
What does it mean? Ah, reach. Oh, did you sign up for the free Steam Deck giveaway on the board? Oh, come on, my God. We already revived? No, I don't ever knew this. At one point, it was like down to like 20,000 people. And they were still rolling it. In fact, they were rolling it like, I want to say like 3 minutes after their broadcast was done. And then I saw the seconds change from every minute to like 200 and something thousand something. Almost like a whole year or whatever. Thought that was phony.
What?
Enough talk.
Been a while since we did this. Give me your all.
What? Nope. Beach. Oh, come on, my guy. All that sheet waste. Did you watch the Delphi show? Yeah. I was kind of confused on what game it was to start. Not gonna lie.
The parent is absolute. Their will must be obeyed. Yet, I'm sensing some insubordination.
Oh, like that sheet? I need to get tripped by that. Damn it, I thought I could go for a little punch. Yeah, no, I watched a pretty good portion of it. I kind of, well, no, I didn't watch the first like hour and a half because I forgot about it, even though I put it on my calendar. What's it called? Chase sent me a video today of someone like showing off some of the gameplay that they had in the closed beta. At the end of the stream, there was a kid running up a stairs. Oh yeah, I just freaking saw that like 10 minutes before I started my stream. Is it where he was like standing behind one of the dudes that was getting an award or some shit?
Enough talk.
Been a while since we give me your all.
Yeah. Dude, what the frick? Stop itching. Okay, that's just dope. One of my coworkers was freaking roasting Blizzard. Cause Chase made a good point to me about what happened. Why am I so itchy? What happened to Immortal? How it wasn't like a complete waste of cheap. Pretty much said like, imagine all the money they made from Immortal, putting that sheet into 4. And I was like, you know what? It's not that bad. What has happened? I'm getting slapped.
Is absolute. Their will must be obeyed. Yeah, I'm sent.
And the guy at work was saying something like, oh, well, if they can make that much money doing that sheet, they're just going to do it again in 4. And I was like, I mean, like, this... Behind the Elden Ring does? Yeah. I'm really hoping that 4 is good though. Dude, why the fuck am I so itchy, man? Like, I know they got hella hate for Immortal, but then again, they freaking racked in hella money. Let's hope they put that money to good use and freaking make 4 lit. What, they got like 6 months? I heard the whole pay to win thing, but it doesn't matter. It's a phone game. Yeah, but they lost a lot of rep. If they add pay to win to Diablo 4, they will lose all. Yeah, dude, it wouldn't make. See, that's what I was trying to tell. It wouldn't make sense for them to add pay to win. It's not a phone game. Like, that's the first thing you should expect with the phone game. I feel like is freaking some type of pay to win sheet. Diablo 4 gameplay looked weird to me. I won't buy it. I don't like Blizzard after all the things that happened. Yeah, see, that's the thing. They lost a lot of respect. So, if 4 is not good, then rest in peace, Blizzard. No, I kind of... It did look kind of weird, not gonna lie.
Been a while since we did this. Give me your all.
I hate that move because I freaking can't parry that sheet back to him. I'm so focused on watching his sheet, I don't pay attention to mine. To like, if I'm actually able to freaking block or not.
I'm sent some insubordinate.
Well, that was a good way of hurting myself. See, I'm trying to gain my sheep back, but he doesn't give me a chance to. By the time I get my sheep back, all the sheep's freaking regenerating. It's like, ah! What the food just happened? Oh, come on, my guy. Oh, you don't have to wait. I'm over here waiting how long for that animation to be done with the stupid smoke shit. I'm over here freaking tripping. That shit didn't even last so long. Bro, I'm getting nowhere with this guy right now. I'm good. I'm gonna do it again. Oh God. Okay. God damn, homie. So why am I whooping your ass in theory right now? The end of the fight where I'm dead. I'm gonna get to the second phase when I have a fucking one potion left. No. Oh God, thank you for doing that. Oh my. Okay, how come I'm getting your sheet so high now? What the Why am I getting your sheet? Why can't you do that at the start of the fight? Freaking bitch. You know, I forgot what happens here again. Why is my series so long? Oh, Jesus Christ. That's the wrong button, but I guess it kind of works. My fireworks. Oh, Jesus. Go, Jesus. Holy Jesus. Yeah, I should probably not walk into that. How long does that shit last for, my guy? Okay, well, I guess see you later. Is that the right one? Okay. I don't like this. Okay. Okay, you can't stop from doing that. Dude, how long does that frickin' poison last for, my guy? Okay, so why am I not kicking your ass with parry right now? Before I was. What changed? What food? I don't know why I care because I'm Canadian doing this. Let me gain my sheep back. I'm making no progress here because you keep running and I want to get my sheep. I don't know how the frick I dodged that. It's the wrong button. Why is your sheet not going up anymore? Oh, you. Yeah, that was kind of good for having freaking deadly beams. I don't know. I should not have lasted that long with freaking one potion at the freaking start of that. What the fuck? I don't like Wizard. Like the thing with Immortal is from what I've heard is useless. Because all the mobs scale to your powers and sure. The whales. My PP is big and Immortal. I got no clue. Yeah, I don't know either. I didn't touch that sheet. I think casual players really enjoyed Immortal, and that's the majority of player base in games, so that's good for them, I guess. Jambro popped off him. Yeah, dude, I don't know what the frick happened. It always seems like at the start of the fight, you can't get his bar up. And it's freaking annoying. Because, like, I want his freaking bar to go up. Like, I know I suck at pairing, but I feel like it's like a 60-40 type of deal.
Enough talk.
Been a while since we did this. Give me all.
How come you can't pair that shit? See what I mean? Start of the fight, his sheet goes up so freaking quick. Can't do shit. Maybe it's how it's supposed to be. What? What the fuck? What was that? Yeah, like that, like that. I don't know how I parried that other one. Okay, I'm getting the combo down of when I fall on the ground to dodge as soon as it's not my sheet.
Their will must be obeyed. Yeah. I sense some insubordination.
Okay. Aw, didn't get that. Well, that's booty. Oh, you couldn't just walk into that? Aw. Okay, okay. Okay. Oh, I got a freaking thing left. How the fuck did I do that? Beach. Whoa, why did this music just change? What happened to the frickin' the music? Beach. Get your frickin' dumbass up. No, don't do that move. Frickin' heal real quick. Okay, nice trade. Not. I feel like you go the same direction I think you go every time, so I don't know why I'm fucking. That was totally unintentional dodge. Ow! Stupid ass fucking poison. How the fuck did I dodge that? Oh, I was dumb. I don't know if that doesn't affect that. Freaking music. I don't know if I like it. Oh, shit! You can do that. Back. Damn it.
The master is
You taught me well.
God damn! Did I actually do that? 40 minutes? Wait, I actually did that? Dude, I thought that would take me at least like 3 hours. I did that shit? Damn. I'm fucking cracked. What the fuck? See, I don't know how I did that. Huh. How come? Oh, what is this? Oh, this story. What? I don't even remember where the frick I left off. Didn't. What? Isn't, Kuma. Frick, his name is over here? I don't even frickin' remember where we left off, bro. I gotta make sure we don't fuck up now. I'll assume, miss the whole boss fight. Oh, yeah. Go and touch everything? I bet. Holy 6,000. Can I get two? Can I get two? No, I cannot. Okay, wait, first things first. How much is the thing I want? I want this. God damn it. Okay, if I don't spend this shit, I'm gonna lose it. Nah, you know what? For God's this game. Oh, should I have not have rested first? Oh, whoops, I just messed up the whole sheet. I done fucked up. Alright, does it matter the order? Dude, I can't believe I killed that beach. I thought that was gonna take me a lot longer. Yeah, I'm freaking crying.
I'm glad you've come, Master Wolf.
I was about to say, when did I get that?
Master Wolf, it looks as if your brow is less furrowed than before.
Yeah, I think I've already seen all that sheet.
Please, see that Lord Kuro's wished.
Yeah, I've already seen all that sheet.
Goodbye.
Kuro. I think it was Kuro.
Wolf
I am relieved to see that you are safe.
and Al,
I killed him,
I am sorry.
Lord Kuro.
I am sorry.
I did what had to be done.
Wolf, thank you.
My father, this was in his possession.
This branch,
Oh yeah, but
It's
the
from
oh
another
yeah, the
person's
tree. Forgot.
I see. So Al had it.
Yes, we are a step closer to the Fountainhead incense.
Yes. Yes, that's right, Wolf.
Hell yeah, that's right.
My lord, I have procured the ingredients for the aroma.
Oh, so that is the stone for the Fountainhead incense? What a peculiar shape.
Oh yeah,
it
we
is.
got this from
Yes.
somebody.
It had been made into some sort of shrine.
So it was just as Lord Takeru wrote.
Yes. There was also an inscription, a sweetly scented bridal offering, written on the altar.
Bridal? What sort of place was this?
It was in a cave, beyond a door made of solid rock.
Solid rock.
In that case, where was the wedding procession headed? No way to know, I guess.
Sweetly scented.
Hmm?
Lord Kuro. That place might be the gateway to the divine realm.
I see.
I agree.
Sweetly scented. Meaning wrapped in the Fountainhead incense. That is what it might be referring to.
I agree.
Wolf, we've finally done it. Once we make the Fountainhead incense, you can infuse your clothes with the aroma. Now, place all of the ingredients in the incense burner.
As you wish.
Should I be doing this for an hour or should I wait? Place the seat. Alright.
My lord.
Wolf, the mortal blade. Fear not. I will only make a shallow cut. Would you draw the mortal blade from its sheath?
Yes, my lord.
Forgive me, but close your eyes.
Yes, my lord.
It's over now, Wolf.
How is the wound?
I'm fine. I just made a small cut on my chest.
He's
So
capping.
this is the Fountainhead incense. It's so extraordinarily nostalgic.
He's capping.
I see.
Well, do you notice anything different?
The aroma
I
and
might have a big
Fountainhead
problem.
Palace.
What the
Those
frick am I
words
have a
have
big
been
problem?
burned
What the
into
frick did I
my
do?
mind.
Fountainhead Palace. It's just as Lord Takeru wrote. That place must lead to the divine realm. But how can the Fountainhead Palace be reached?
A sweetly scented bridal offering. That was written on the altar where the fragrant stone was placed.
Yes. You now carry the aroma
See.
of the Fountainhead incense. I believe the path leading to the Fountainhead Palace will open before you if you go to the shrine within the cave. Immortality
okay.
shall soon be severed. I'm counting on you, Wolf.
As you
I
wish.
don't know if I am. Can you go rest and see if you can clean dragon root? What the fuck does that mean? Oh, clean dragon root. Ha, I forgot that was you talking about this? Dragon rot, dragon root. I kind of forgot what tech would son of a bitch. So we got a little problem here. Oh, isn't there a shop? Isn't there a homie over there? Doesn't he sell some sheep? Walk to the right behind the wall. Did I get that part? He's up.
We're almost there. Yes, do what must be done.
Okay, that was easy. Am I freaking out over here? Oh, shit. Walk up the stairs. Emma should be up there. Oh, good sign. She's not here. Oh, yeah. Alright, good, good, good. Am I talking to her? Exhauster. Oh, yeah.
I must do what must be done. That is what the diviner said. He must be hiding something.
I see.
What is it?
Lord Takeru spoke of beheading in his memoirs.
Yes.
Perhaps the act of beheading was the
Uh-huh.
means to end immortality, along with the life of the
Agreed to
divine
keep Kuro alive.
What?
If you walk the path of immortal severance, then you must use the mortal blade to...
End my lord's life.
Yes, Lord Kuro desires immortal severance. I understand that. I do. And yet, Master Wolf, might there be a path where Lord Kuro need not lose his life?
There be.
Dragon's heritage is no ordinary power. There could be such a path.
Well then, Master Wolf, I ask that you help me find such a path. A path where Lord Kuro need not die.
Need not die. Yeah, I'm gonna take a wild guess. The first option is what we're choosing here. Because last, cannot be allowed to die. Just want to double check.
I will not let my lord die.
Thank you.
We must find a starting point.
Yes. Oh, yes. Lady Tomoe's. Master Wolf, I might have a place to start. I'll look into it and let you know as soon as I find something.
Thank you.
Okay.
So, we may want to.
Keep this from the divine air.
Yes.
Okay. Correct term is travel, sir. Are you talking about like the castle teleport, or are you just talking about the tab? Oh, never mind. I have to guide you. This will be ass. Ah, shit. No, no, no. We got this. I believe. Oh, we're gonna go from here. Oh, okay. Oh, this is gonna be fun. It's just like old times. What is this? It's like Hollow Knight. Alright, just before we start this, just keep in mind I got delay. Alright, apologize. I'll be looking when you type it, but I'm just fucking saying. I got a feeling we're supposed to go over there or some shit. Where the food cart. That's a good start. Like a what are you looking at for reference? Well, it's like 6 o'clock. Go more left. Need to see the other side. Drop down on the right and walk through the gate. Alright, to the icy spots. Oh, shit. You talking about that gate or this gate? One or two. One or two. Okay, you're talking about someone different. You're talking about two then. Two? Okay. Is there home? Oh, this freaking beach. Not this beach. That's the wrong button. Am I allowed to rest? Okay, thank God. Haha, beach. Come on here, beach. I dare you. Come on, you little beach. That's right. That's right. See there, nerd. Okay, I can't do that anymore. Okay, I got a plan. I got a plan. Watch this. Everything's fine. Watch this. Everything is fine. It's all good. Hold on. Just kill him. No, no. Fuck this stupid beach. I hate fighting this one. I can probably kill him. Fucking hate fighting this guy. That's why I hate fighting this guy. Changes the sheet from one beach. I don't want to dodge that. What? Okay. Beach, get your stupid ass up. Get the shit up. God, I hate fighting that guy. Alright. Oh, fuck. Now we gotta deal with the stupid rocket launchers. From the idol, go left. Like down there left, or like on the edge over here left? This is left, right? I have a feeling I might know what you're talking about. It's not left? Oh! You mean like if she's oh, you mean like if she's facing that? Oh, so you're talking about like going, wait, what? What are you talking about then? What do you mean that's not left? It's... What? What do you mean that's not left? She's facing this way. This way is left. If you stand like this, then go right. You just stand like this, beach. That's how she's facing. That's what I said down here. That's, and you're like left. What the fuck? Look. Oh, you. Oh, you mean right here? You could have said through the doorway. Ow. Gee. Rest. And I fucked up. Whoop, time to restart. Time to restart. Son of a bitch.
Master Wolf, I found something. Here.
Oh, I should probably have talked to her. Describes they were Boston and Mortal Blade, and yet cannot acquire Slayers hidden behind the High Priest of the Temple of Essence Desires.
Purification?
Yes. It says here, there is a way to cut the ties of the dragon's blood and transform its owner into a regular human being. The process requires a flower.
Is it a white one?
Everblossom, as I told you once before. The Everblossom is a sakura tree that Lord Takeru brought here from the divine realm. However, someone cut a branch from the tree and stole the flowers, and the Everblossom eventually dried and withered away. So the Everblossom tree has been entirely lost.
If the tree itself no longer exists, the flowers don't exist either.
Correct. But the branch that was stolen did have flowers on it. So if it could be found...
Is this the branch from the Everblossom tree? It was in my father's possession.
Master Owl. But there are no flowers on this branch.
What's wrong?
It's nothing. I was just trying to remember back to when the Everblossom still flourished. But try as I might, the memory is hazy. They're graves.
What?
I think I'll pay a visit to Lord Takeru and Lady Tomoe's graves.
I think I know where those are at.
That's where the Everblossom once grew. Something might come back to me. The purification requires the mortal blade. I'll visit the grave. It may...
By the way, how would the mortal
Oh,
blade
see,
be
oops.
used?
Now that you mention it,
I thought I was
that
just gonna.
part
Oops.
wasn't very clear. I'll see what I can find.
Oh, okay.
Goodbye, Master Wolf. The purification requires the mortal. All it may.
By the how would
Now I'll see.
Could probably just fast traveled there. But we ain't no beach. I'm guessing I probably have to rest to see her sheet. Let's see if I just freaking teleport her. And boom, let's go.
Why must that be the only way?
Hello?
Master Wolf, how long have you been there?
Have you remembered anything?
Nothing, I'm afraid.
Nothing.
She's capping.
That's right. I'm sorry. I
She's
wasn't
capping
able to
hard.
remember anything significant. Perhaps one of my old
No,
friends.
she's
will.
freaking lying.
I'll meet with Orangutan at his temple.
Orangutan?
Yes. It's the sculptor's
fuck is
old
that?
nickname. Back then, Lord Genichiro and I would come here a lot. Lord Takeru would play the flute, and Lady Tomoe would dance under the Everblossom. It was a wonderful sight. Perhaps one of my old friends has some memories of those days. I'll speak with Orangutan at his temple. Back then, Lord, perhaps I'll speak.
Easy money. Have I met quote unquote Mr. Orangutan before? I feel like I haven't. Oh, sheet. Go back to what the frick is that sheet temple? It's the very first place in this game. When you get there, walk behind the temple and eavesdrop on him again. There's a hole in the wall on the other side.
it will with you?
I can't honestly say. To achieve their goal of immortal severance, either he or Lord Kuro must die.
Oh, nothing important, huh?
The only way.
So will you keep that from them?
But orangutan, if I give this to him, he's going to die.
Oh, this is orangutan? What the fuck? She's capping. I saw you overheard.
Oh, you're here, Master.
Yeah, we got something to talk
Was
about.
the sculptor able to help?
Unfortunately, no. I'm afraid we'll need to look for other clues.
Nah.
One of us must die.
Uh,
Were you listening this whole time?
Tell me.
I saw it. That day beneath the branches of the Everblossom tree. Lady Tomoe tried to commit suicide.
Why?
She said those made immortal by the oath of the dragon's heritage shackle their masters.
I mean, I don't know
So
if me
in
and
order
are
for
cool
the
anymore.
purification
She's
to
freaking
occur,
lying.
The oathbound of the dragon's heritage.
She'll
must
give you an
die.
item, use it at the Buddha.
Precisely.
But she was unable to
Use it
achieve
at
the
the Buddha. Oh.
purification.
Correct. She did not have the mortal blade. I don't want to lose Lord Kuro or you, but all paths are leading to dead ends.
Am I asking what the frick? She's hiding or leaving?
What are you hiding?
So you overheard.
Tell me.
We just got through that.
What must be done? I will live by those words, as my master
fuck?
does.
Here.
Father's Bill Charm. A Bill Charm previously owned by the owl. The owl held this bell for a long time, offering to his simple many result. I think a different memory that offered before. There's no way about this which had to that. Perhaps the owl who chose it, perhaps he meant to give it to someone.
Is this a bell?
It fell off Owl's dead body, if I'm not
That's
mistaken.
it. Wait,
You and Master Owl.
Buddha is this guy, right? Or is it that's the freaking statue?
It may be a
Statue,
different
right?
experience than the one you had before.
I will try it.
I am not sure what memories you
Yeah,
have,
yeah. It's just,
but
that's
the
the
bell
statue.
belonged to Master Owl.
There's a statue. Yeah.
So
For some
please,
reason, I thought it was him.
take care.
Hey, we gotta see. No.
Goodbye, Master Wolf.
All right. Are you ready? The bell will send you to a familiar place, but in a different time zone. Also, a different starting point. Do I gotta do something special, or do I just frickin' pray? I haven't used this sheet in like what, 25 hours. Let's go, well. Oh, sheet. Oh, yeah. Okay, now you said in a different time zone. What's up with it?
You're supposed to be dead,
Okay.
yet you still live.
Oh, yeah, this. Oh, yeah.
Kill you now and all will be as it's supposed to.
Oh, my God. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Whoa, 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 whoa. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Calm down, please. What the fuck? Okay, now just explore. Don't go backwards though. It's points to go backwards. Nothing new backwards, only forwards, okay. We go to Lady Butterfly's room. It's pretty much just straight path if you get there. Oh, that's before. Oh, that's straight path, huh? Good. God damn. God damn. Wait, have I found this guy before? This wasn't the guy that was in this spot, right? No, no, it was what's this place? It's not the same time. No, obviously I think this guy work. It's Beach. Did I die before? Oh, I did. Oh, whoops. Son of a bitch. Okay. Okay. I don't know if I like this. Ow. Oh, that's a thrust? Can I shift? Damn it. No, I don't want to dodge it. I want to freaking counter it. You spawned in that many dogs? Okay, we gotta let him not do that shit. You spawned in that many dogs? Do you remember what you found here when you were here the first time? What I found? All I remember from this place was, I want to say it was it my father? No, was it or somebody kneeling against a freaking rock, and it freaking died. Yeah, ow, yeah. Yeah, how the frick did I get that right? Damn. And then, was that it? Remember the first bell was like 3 years past. Yeah. What? What's the frickin' button? Oh, I'm out of sheets. That was frickin' Peach. Oh, you stupid little Peach. Ah! You guys aren't no frickin' one shot? So people thought he was dead, but in reality he wasn't. Those dogs are very annoying. They survive a... Yeah, fuck these stupid dogs. I ain't got any sheets anyways. I put the blades on the chucking on them so he doesn't spawn into that. Dude, I get no time to like prepare. Ow! Why did they get sent to Narnia, dude? What the food? Stupid freaking dogs. Just keep hitting the guy. Well, like the thing is, I'm trying to like react to what the frick he's doing, and then what do you know? Stupid freaking like whistling shit. Honestly, it's me trying to gain back my sheet too. Dude, I don't want to dodge that. I want to freaking counter. Bitch, I'm already. Wait, do you do 2 different types of sheets? Oh, you do. Not the one you do. I need to gain some sheep back, but you're not really giving me. Bitch, I'm already dead the second time already? I need to gain my sheep back, sir. Can you, like, stop, like, calling your sheets? Please, thanks. God damn, homie. For the record, I am not in range of that. Or I am in range of that. That is not a dodge. Oh, the one. What, did it work? Yeah, honestly, Joe, just fucking kill me. I ain't surviving the machine noise. Fucking super dogs. Fucking one time I go for a heal. Fucking little bitch. Boot. Yeah, if you can give me a chance to get my sheep back, that'd be fantastic. That is not what I wanted to do. Once again, as soon as I heal, you go for it. Sheep. No time to cough, Nick. Shut the fuck up. What the fuck? Oh, you think I'm dead, huh? Nope, I'm back. This guy's cracked. Give me a chance to heal. Yup. Yup. Well, yup. Oh, I missed my sheep. Yup. Fuck these dogs. Somebody not paying attention to them. What? I love this guy. Ow. Alright. Haha, watch this. No, I didn't want to dodge that. Go for heal. Going for heal. Watch, he's gonna call it. Yup. Huh. She got him time this time. Wait, how'd that? The frick that dodge? Oh, we shot dodge from that. Mind if I get healing real quick? I gotta do this bitch 2 times. I I gotta do this beast 2 times. I want a refund. Don't get me wrong, dogs are cool, but fuck them. At the same time. This whole area with all these people. Right. Thank you. Got one little combo. Ow! One little combo. Yeah. One little combo and my shit's already got full. Ooh. Ah! This bitch comes out of nowhere. Fuck, I hate these zombie wiggers now, beach, huh? What you got up here? You ain't got sheep. Ow. Ah! What the? These stupid ass dogs. Dude, I fucking hate these dogs. I'm about to quit as soon as I hear that stupid whistle. Now I ain't getting the satisfaction of having these motherfuckers on me. Oh, nice attack. Got a long hockey. Wow, really bad time to heal, sir. What? I didn't counter that? Okay. Nah, that's fair. No, not. English. Okay. Keep turning my freaking deep guy up. No, that's not gonna be the one way to try. This time that should be. Oh, but you know, I actually got a heal up. No! Frick shot. Bro, there's no shot my sheep missed him right there. I'm upset. I'm freaking flustered. I'm upset. Bitch, freaking. Can I get heal off real quick? I guess you gave me the heal, so I appreciate it. Of course, I'm gonna. Ah! Oh. I shifted away from that. Hey, how's it going? Oh, I got your ass trapped in the corner now, beach. Oh, come. You tell me this. You said these guys are just all over the place. Am I forced to kill them? 'Cause I ain't killing these motherfuckers. Am I forced to kill this guy? Oh, what do you know? I got a heal on. What? I didn't encounter that? Oh, I mean, I thought this guy was... It's the first guy here, so I assume that he was... I had it, man. See, I wouldn't say afraid. I'm just sick and tired of this bitch. But then again, he probably gives me a... Must send me a freaking gun. I can't even get this guy's first freaking bar down, bro. It's not good. Yeah, I need to gain my sheet back if you don't mind. Who is this beach? Look, man, I'm in a fight right now. Can you give me about 5 seconds? Look, you may miss a counter. Then we got this big beach coming in. Oh, hey, what's up, Sasha? Note to self, don't drag him over there. Book this dude. This fight annoyed me more than the monkey. Bro, I agree. I agree. Frick this guy. What's up, Sasha? Food. If you don't mind, ow! I'd like to get my sheep back, but I mean, I guess not. You mind if I heal real quick? Right. I'm gonna heal these in summon. Yep. I timed that really bad. Timed that really bad as well. Okay, I mean, I got a good little system. I'm trying to go for heal here. He's gonna it's not there. Go, 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 go! Oh, I'm in the beach. I freaking hate. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. I hate this guy. Good luck, man. I'll be lurking. Alright, man. Thanks for the look, my dude. Hope your day is going fantastic. Fuck this stupid beach. The first enemy freaking have an asshole. Beach. Get your stupid ass out, beach. Oh, what? That didn't stagger me? Guess not. Why is this little beach causing me so many issues? I don't know. Dodge. I hate this guy. I want your freaking bead, you beach. I feel like I haven't got a seed in a hot minute too. Give me a freaking seed. Give me everything you got. What is this? Highly precious grains forming the base for a deficient using explosive person. Oh. Oh, cool. Hey, how's it going? I'm gonna use you as a distraction. Okay, never mind. Fuck you, beach. Fuck you, beach. Fuck you, beach. Haha, fuck you, beach. Fuck that beach. Oh, it's over there. No, it's the head. I was. Ow. Now we're grabbing. We're grabbing. Oh. I guess I'm killing that guy. Alright, thank you. Peace out. Ah! Hi, how's it going? Sure, I can hear. Ah! Fuck you. Kind of forgot this soon. Thanks for reminding me, Bagel, punk. Watch, I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna be able to kill that guy now. I can't want to try it again, not gonna lie. Damn, just these guys give 200? God. Damn, you're ugly. No offense. Is it worth going for the guy? God damn, this is freaking big. I don't want to kill these big guys. I don't want. I guess you can't do that. Okay. Kind of thought that was the thing. Guess not. Alright. Good to know. Oh, deja vu. That's a lot of homies there. Kind of forgot. Forgot how much it's not worth killing you guys. Not worth killing you guys. Okay. Thank you very much. Oh yeah, this is what the whole freaking thing that I hate too. choice. Ow. Frick you, Beach, watching me lay down, she. Oh, hey, how's it going? I forgot what's good things. Oh, sick. Ah! Oh, I forgot I have that thing. God, I'm getting slapped from every corner. I don't know why I'm doing this. It seems fun. This is fun. This is entertainment for me. I like it. Hey, yo, well, yeah, yo. Oh, I didn't mean to do this. God. It's like I have to have some type of entertainment, right? Good job, sir. I'm proud of you. Alright, that was called entertainment right there. I like it. Gotta kill the big guy to get into the building. Oh, you're talking about the guy that's guarding the guarding the door. Is that guy here to help me out this time or not? I don't know why I'm killing those guys. I like I have to have some type of satisfaction. Wasn't there more sheep? Oh yeah, wasn't there like one spot that I missed last time with some sheep? That I forgot you can do. Homie's not here to help me out. Can't you see I'm trying to eavesdrop? What the food? These fucking people over here now? I don't know how you can see me. Help me out, Beach. What the fuck is happening? I don't like it. Whatever's happening, I like it. I'm thoroughly enjoying this. Got wolf and trade over here? Where the fuck am I going? Just freaking kick dust on me? Oh, beach. Money. Drink money. Where the hell did you come from? There's no way I can just pass with that scene. Alright, I remember fighting this guy before, and I remember I was not a fan. Can I finish eavesdropping? If I kill you, will you aggro all this sheep? So you're telling me that does? Alright. fight you. For them to fight you. I really don't want to fight you. You got a fucking poison sword? The boss doesn't have any moves, so it should be pretty easy. You can also get a backstep on the boss. I think that's dead. Okay, that's all I was trying to do, but then I got the guy's attention. Okay, so here's something. I think I can just quickly get this guy real quick. If I'm not, don't suck. I don't know if this is the correct way of doing this, but... Oh. Okay, that works. Ah! Alright. If I remember how to kill you, I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember how to kill this guy. I remember last time I had help though. I just got freaking one shot. Okay, not a good start. Where's my help at? I don't know why I'm going way over here. I forgot you can't stagger him. Oh, what am I stuck on? Hello? Okay, good start. Jesus Christ. I forgot how much I hate this guy. God damn, homie. What? There's no way that hit me. God damn, homie. I did not mean to hit him again. I forgot how much I hate this guy. I didn't mean to hit him again. I meant to run away. But you know me. Ha ha. Ha ha. Oh, and I got to do it all over again. Boo. See. Fook. Alright. Easy money. Here we go. Fuck you. Look at me, sir. Alright. Fuck, now I gotta do all this shit again. How do we go this way? Oh, can I go? What the frick is the point? What the frick is the point of going this way? What the food? I thought I would have like another access. What the food? What kind of shit is this? Okay, I seriously thought that was gonna be some like good sheet, but apparently not. What the fuck? Can I eavesdrop this time? Like, cause I don't want to make it.
It was surprisingly easy. Owl's info was right on the money, you know.
I don't like him. There's something shifty about him. The smell of a crook. Oh, he's a villain. A down and out villain.
Mercenary. Well, he's useful right now. So endure him for all his schemes. a nameless rogue shinobi. His efforts won't amount to much.
I'm not complaining, so long as there's coin and booze in it.
I mean, that's fair. Why is that instant? Can I only fight this guy real quick? Mind? I really don't want to fight both of you guys at the same time. Hey, you want to hop out real quick? Alright, help me out. Let's get the whole party up on this beach. The frickin' pod. How the frick are you still drinking? You should get your dumb ass up. What is this bitch? How the frick is this beach so alive? Maybe I should be taking advantage of. Okay, you know what? Fuck this. Reset. Reset. Hurry up. Go, go, go. Reset. Fuck that. I don't know why I'm attempting that when I know I'm not going to legit. I love this guy. I need my help. I need my help. Where's my help? What happens if I just like... How can... Well, how do you see me? What the dude? How did I kill this guy last time? Last time being like... What is it? Ow! See, I mean, but where's the farm at? It's content, alright? That's what I'm doing. It's content. I kind of forgot how I pulled this other guy off anyways, not gonna lie. I forgot my technique. The fuck did I do to pull that beach off? How did I forget that? Okay, I love movement in this game. Love it. Yeah. Fuck it, give me a reset. Let me go my special direction. Okay, we got this. 100%. Okay, wait, no cap. What the fuck did I do to get that other guy's attention? How did I kill the small guy before? Without... How did I forget that? What the fuck? You ran him? I did? I want to do that. Are you sure? I'm gonna gain its attention if I just run him right now, right? Oh, I guess I won't. Nah, I did some other sheets. I guess I probably could have killed you when he was over here. Eh. Alright, can I reset your sheet going the way I was going for? Okay, this is going good. I really gotta get my phone cleaned. That was a good opportunity. Kind of, not really. Reset. That was a good opportunity. I don't know how I fucked that up. Well, man, I know why I didn't kill these freaking pumps over here. Not a very good opportunity at all. No, I was in the back stab his ass. How come I always walk into that? Where's he at? Did you walk over? Did I just go? What? Oh. Hold up. There's no shot he's not gonna see me. Whatever, run it. I don't understand how that works, but alright, cool. I guess let's start over here. Sure. Hurry the fuck up, bitch, get your ass over here. I don't think I really like fighting over here, but we're gonna run that sheep. Alright, we go. The wrong move. I don't know how you survive that sheep. How was this supposed to... The fuck are you expecting me to dodge that? That's double attack. Okay. Dude, I hate getting stuck on these stupid ass rocks, bro. It's so freaking annoying. Oh, that's ah. Ow. Frick, that hurt. Hey, what's up, Panda? What's up, dude? I gotta do it all over again. What's up with it, Mr. Panda, sir? How's it going? I'm doing the same way I did before because that worked out pretty well. Hot son of a beach. So far so good. Hell yeah. Apologies in advance for my coughing. Wow, Nick, good job. That's what the food. Ooh, beach. So, you having a pretty good, or had a good week so far? Alright, you guys mind doing the same shit you did before? Make my life easier. Please. I need that shit. Why do I keep running into the fire? I don't fucking know. Okay, let's do this beach reset. No, I have a freaking idea. It's right there. Puppet Ninja guy using puppet tools. What? This is definitely not resetting them. Yeah, I'm not here right now. Please leave a message after the beep. Yeah, shoo, go away. Shoot. Shoo. I'm not here. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, shoo. Where'd that one beach go? Okay. Where'd he go? Look, I ain't fighting you guys both at the same time, alright? Ain't happening. Where'd he go? What the fuck? Oh, hey. I'll fight you one-on-one, but I ain't fighting both of you bitches. No, I hate fighting you. That's... What? wouldn't mind, I'd like to get out of that. Thank you very much. All right. Why are you here, huh? What's the point of you being here? Let's be honest. Nobody. Let's be honest here. Ain't nobody wants you here. Why are you here, huh? He doesn't need defending. He's a big guy. Why are you chilling with him? You guys don't need to talk. Nah, you guys are good. I don't need to talk. Swear to God, if you don't freaking jump on the guy. I don't know why I didn't see right there, but I'm not gonna talk about it. Okay, can we just have like a smooth little sheet going on here to where I can just 1v1 this guy? Why are you making this so difficult, huh? This is uncalled for. Didn't mean to do that, but I would like to spam the sheet, so I guess we're gonna do it. I'm just kidding. I forgot it. I don't need your sheet. Freaking watch your homie die. Oh, what a freaking pal. What a freaking homie. Alright, can I go over this? Is that a thing? I'm about to make it a thing. I'm jumping over this goddamn fire. I don't quite know if that helped me out at all. Who the frick did I aggro? I don't think they helped me out at all. I aggroed you. Whoa, what? Who the frick did I aggro you guys? What? Now I'm just starting to think you're hacking. What the? Who? How the frick do you not know what's happening? Look. Please. Just mercy. Why is there two of you guys? I just want to kill you. That's all I want to do. You want to come over here and fight? Why? I know your ass is right here. Yeah, I know your ass is here. Get over here. Come on, Beach. Come on, fight me like a goddamn man. I'm not dying. Okay, now, let's just have a nice little 1v1 action, you know. You don't need to get your homie over here, alright? Let's just do this like men. Not exactly what I had in mind, but... Not exactly what I had in mind, but... Alright, now. Can we... please. Where's this dumb beach at? Alright. Now, let's just all take a chill pill here, alright? There's no chance I die to this guy again. Do you know what? I'm not going to say that because I'm probably going to die to him again. Alright, now. Let's just all chill. Yeah, it's just all just calm down, alright? There's no need to get so crazy, alright? Just run in circles. Slap. that. Okay, I accept that one. One more bit. If I get stuck on that motherfucking rock one more time, I swear to God. Is this game support pausing? What the fuck? Why is it frozen? Is it good? Why can't things just go smoothly, huh? What happened to it? Why can't things just be nice to me? Why you gotta do my this? Why you gotta do me like this? What the fuck? Why you gotta do me like this? Sorry, Mr. Sheep. If you're not a bot, I'd like to apologize, but there's a very high chance you're a bot. Sorry, my guy. Alright. No idea if I actually dodged or not, but let's just say I did. Nowhere near the movement I wanted to happen right there. What the fuck was that? What the fuck? What the fuck? Jesus. I don't know how that didn't kill him, but we won't talk about it. How did I fuck those both up? How did I fuck those both up? Ow. Ow. How did I fuck those both up? Jesus Christ. Took me long enough. God damn. You can run into the building to the aisle now. It will be at the same place. Oh yeah, it's this place. Oh come on, I kind of forgot where we were. I'm going. I am freaking bitch. Oh, what just happened? Freaking beach. Alright, so wait. Are we killing this dumb beach again? What were we talking about again? I'm all flustered, man. Some beach. What do I want to upgrade? Oh, yeah, I wanted to get this. Okay. Testament. When you killed Lady Butterfly, there was a cutscene at the end. Ah, shit. I told you remember the cutscene if you can. So now I ask you what happened in that cutscene. Well, sorry to disappoint. Beach, I don't even remember you telling me to remember the front cutscene, so I'm already fooked here. I got a timestamp for the cutscene. Worst case, Peach already has that. She ready to go. Uh, Frick, what did happen? That was like, what, 23 hours ago? Or 25, like, in-game hours? What did happen? Can you message me at she on Steam? God, this truck already has she ready to go. I'm gonna kill him. I gotta freaking level up. That's fucked up. What the fuck? Oh damn, you're actually linking this on my on YouTube's. Can you open the link? Thank you. Sub 33. Oh yeah. Did it show who did that? Okay, that was by the.
Oh, see you later. Oh yeah.
That was the Mortal Blade.
Alright.
You see whose blade that was now if you go into the butterfly's room. Oh shit. Oh yeah. Oh, we gonna find out today. Huh?
That day, I pulled you from the battlefield, a starving cub. I had no idea what you'd become.
Huh?
Father, it breaks my heart. But I'm putting you down.
Huh? Huh? What the fuck? Okay, this. What the fuck? That's so. Wrong button. You can't dodge that. I don't know if you were that Nick. Really tells you. I don't know how I dodged that. What the f. Can't dodge that. What? This is the real Alphite? He's 3 years younger now? So he had new moves 3 years ago? Or 3 what? I'll be surprised if be in this room. Huh? I thought I was done with this beach. It's some linear of Sekiro? Oh, son of a beach. Is this what is this the guy the last one then? Dude, he's freaking Sonic speed, bro. That's dodged me. is memory? Oh yeah. This is the fight you get for doing all the talking we did earlier. Also for a special ending. That's a pretty sick thrusting attack, if I do say so myself. I'll be real, I did this guy a lot later. What the fuck am I doing now? What else is there to do? Dude, his freaking bar. Oh god, his freaking bar, dude. His freaking bar is cracked. Look at that shit, bro. What the fuck? Go for a freaking posture kill here? Tell what's in my village where corrupted monk was. We only need to make sure to unlock the idol here so we can't mess up anything. Ah, okay. What the fuck? Okay, where's that again? Mabu village? Where the frick's that shit at? Found it. What the fuck? That's gonna be fun. Oh, you said last CP. I saw it. Oops. Whoops. I'm glad I didn't fuck anything up yet. Ah. The fun of killing this guy. We can't mess up anything anymore? Hell yeah. Wait, is that like a confirmation, or are you telling me that we can't? Is that like a it's impossible to mess up more, or okay, confirm. Okay. Probably if I can be taken both ways. Alright, so I was in here, right? This is where we got the one thing, the flower. Yeah. Oh yeah, this is the thing that I didn't really I couldn't do sheet, right? Oh yeah, this is where I wrote yeah. This is where I wrote the sheet. Yeah. God, I definitely couldn't do this before. It sends us to a whole area that we wouldn't get to in the other ending. Oh, hell yeah, okay. This, what the fuck is that? That's a big ass. That's a big ass. Is that a rope? No way, that's someone's foot. That's how I go in there. That's someone's foot. Bitch, that's someone's hand. Oh, what? Something's hand, huh? Okay. This bitch is made out of ropes. This is also probably the best place to grind XP. Are you allowing me to grind XP, by the way? Like max out on my sheet? Rip the homie? You good? Did you like Crumpton Monk? That's fine. I. It was alright. I'm actually being soaked up by what the fuck? Once you progress further in the area, there's some nice spots for XP grind. Well, I feel like. Oh, this is a restart. What the fuck? I feel like we didn't do that in any of the other Dark Souls games. I don't know if we should do it in this one. What the fuck? I see it. I'm done here. I'm gonna freaking cop it. Oh, dude. Hell yeah. Always wanted that. Grenade XP is kind of meh. Makes you choose. See, yeah, that's the thing. Anyone? The bosses from now on might get a lot of. Oh, great! Love that. Huh. Well, let me guess. I'm about to walk into one right now. We're getting a little bit of exploring action going here, or are we just getting right on this sheet? Huh? Come on. That's why you asked about to cover my, huh? I mean, nah, it's gonna be that hard. Nah, I got this. What the? What the food? That's a double attack. Oh, that's the wrong button. Everything just sends me to freaking Narnia, bro. Ow! That's the wrong button. Nah, that. Ow! Are we gonna talk about how this guy has 3 dots, by the way? This isn't a ghost this time? Oh yeah, the other one was a ghost, huh? That's fucked up. Fuck your goddamn essence. I like the monk theme. Wait, were you capping about how that owl is the millennia of this game? Fuck your stupid ass entrance. You can't dodge that. I don't know if you're aware of the mechanics of this game, but you can't dodge that. Okay, so do you do different sheet? Oh. 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 Hello? Oh, what? Ow. Oh yeah, let's just add new. Yeah, let's just add new stuff, dude. Yeah. Yeah, no, let's just add some new stuff. Nah, that's cool. Yeah, uh-huh. I didn't dodge that. No, let's just add new stuff. Which I thought after I killed the other freaking owl, I would be Gucci, you know? I thought it would be chill. I like the first owl fight more personally. Would the boss ever do different stuff? Okay, if I can do that again, that'd be sick. Cause I slapped the shit out of you. Ow! Ow! I don't know if you can't dodge that. Can't dodge it either. What? Let me guess. The third sheet's gonna be completely different from the first and second, huh? Definitely new moves since the other sheet. Okay. How the fuck did I do that? Okay, I'll see you later. Frick you. All right. Oh, you bitch. Oh, slapping your sheet. Ah, damn, homie. Get frickin' slapped. Okay. Wow, nice attack, Nick. Yup, but way to roll backwards. Bitch, get your stupid ass up. Oh, that's double. Huh? You can't stagger that. That's a bad time to heal. Alright, yep. Oh, got that one. Yeah, I like that attack. Kind of. I'm like. That is not a thrust. That is not a thrust. How much try Sekiro LMTSR mode? What the frick is that, dude? Left mouse trigger screen and relic? Just, oh. One time you do a thrust, and I think it's the other one. I don't know what's happening, but I'm really enjoying it. It's not a dodge. That is not a thrust. Somehow I dodged though. Didn't dodge that though. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Get your dumb ass up. Oh yeah. That's not very good timing. It's not. You're on the ground. Ow. I wonder why there's trees you can gravel to. Freaking question. I don't know. Trees. Yeah, let's just miss a perfect opportunity. Freaking some shit. It's garbage. Maybe there's a hint for something. See, now this is just bowling at this point. Because you guys know shit that I don't. Oh, hey. Oh, yeah. God, that's satisfying. Can I get your ass to jump off? Oh, I figured it out. Figured it out. Nah, I got this. Just jump off. Easy money. I got this. That's a strat and a half I've ever seen one. Oh, I thought I had it. Use your noggin. Use your freaking brain. What's... Maybe... Oh, wait. See, now, you think I did that on purpose for the content, right? But it's an accident. Okay, I gotta play and watch this. I know you guys come up. Watch this. I got this. Exactly what I'm doing. Okay, can you let me do my sheet? There we go. I got this. Here we go. Get your stupid ass up, bitch. It's not a thrust. That's also not a thrust. Okay. No. Watch this. I know. I got this. I got this. Get your stupid ass up, bitch. Oh, Jesus, what the? Yeah, look, this is not really going as planned here. I got this. It's not a thrust. That's awesome, not a thrust. You guys should just coming. Hear me out. Alright. I'm thinking, hear me out here. We get past her first sheet, right? When she does this little bird sheet, we go on the freaking tree, she jumps off the map. Boom. What do you guys think? It's not it. God damn. Makes sense. Listen, next head. What do you mean, my? It just makes sense. Total freaking sense. I mean, what other freaking reason is there? What the fuck? Ow. Not a thrust. Wow, that was good. I had that thing. I gotta test it at least once. Just let me test my shit, you bitch. Alright, here we go. Well, here we go. Watch this, watch this. Watch this, watch this. We go over here, right? Go here, go right here. Watch. So, didn't work that well. It didn't work that well. Why you always gotta stop my shit? What if you try another branch? To be fair, you know, placement wasn't that good. Okay, what other ones are there? Probably this one, huh? 100% is this one. Nah, cause she wouldn't even jump over here. I don't fucking know. Ow. Perhaps we need some high ground. You gonna get up or what's the deal here? God damn, that's satisfying. You can't parry that or stagger that much. God damn, that's satisfying. That was sick. Oh, bitch, I didn't want to go past. And then you fuck it up again. Not a thrust. Jesus fucking. God. Did you miss the other mini bosses? All I know is that I missed that one beach that summons the fucking stupid dogs. Cause fuck that guy. As far as I know, that's the only guy I missed. Fuck that stupid wolf dog beach. What just happened? What? Huh? That's not a thrust. That is not a dodge. So, not exactly what I had planned, but I guess suppose that works. That's not high ground. I mean, that's I was high. It was high ground at some point, but then it just turned into experiments. It was high ground at some point. Also, I never said the boss is gonna jump down the map. Yeah, we didn't say it. Didn't say no. I just said the trees might be useful for something. Frickin' what? What, to jump on this sheet? Get up on this sheet. I'm trying to look. Can you like give me a second, sir? For what? What the frick am I missing? What? Son of a bitch. That's wrong. Ow. 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 That's the thrust. Ow. See now, that is even my fault. I'm just trying to maneuver around the map. That's the game's fault. I know, when you say the word phases, you're talking about like the actual word phasing, you're talking about like a different term here. Give me some explanation. Go into her and she's Damn. Damn. What the food? I don't know how the fuck I did that. Okay, you said, when you said do what? You talking about when I was jumping over to the freaking stupid ass building? You just talking about freaking being up there? Now, I'm gonna classify that as phasing. What? What? Let's go to the highest branch to look at the boss. Nothing said. Enough said. But what? What? I didn't see shit. What the fuck was I supposed to see? What the fuck? That's... Ow! That was a pretty combo. I like that. Can't want that one. Making it easy for you here? Oh. I mean, not yet. I don't know what the frick's going on. Not want to attack you again, sir. Get the fuck up. You should already revive. Okay, I want to start this. Alright, can we get some like back-to-back thrusts? Because that makes my life a lot easier, if you don't mind. Thanks. Okay, can you do that cool little combo? Because that's actually kind of entertaining to dodge. If you wouldn't mind doing that. Just, no, again. Spiritual casts and react, you don't need to run around here like a monkey. But what if I light him around like that? This is fun though. That's the wrong button. Thanks to Sekiro Souls. Honestly though, you're right. Look, it's not my fault I put the game for 100 hours, alright? Well, I mean, it precisely is my fault. But look, I can explain, alright? God, dude, I swear, I have a reaction time of like a 9-year-old. No offense to 9-year-olds. I mess up with thrust because I'm fucking trash. What? I didn't parry that? What the frick am I supposed to be seeing? What? What am I supposed to be? You basically told me to go on this frickin' ramp. What the frick am I supposed to be doing? What? What the frick am I supposed to be doing? I seriously don't understand what the frick you guys are having to do. I'm like, no cop. I don't know what the fuck I'm supposed to be seeing. You have to step on her when she's standing there on ghost mode? Oh. What the? I'm supposed to guess that? Oh. I do it again. Wow. That was a pretty good attempt. Well, we got same last year, but that was pretty good. I think the boss needs like a sign pointing at him saying please backstab. Oh. 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 I mean, I could have guessed that. I'm gonna rename this whole freaking sheet to freaking Sekiro or what did you say again? I forgot, Jesus Christ. Whole sheet to that. Ow. I was for some reason I thought you guys were trying to get me to do like some like secret depth sheet or something. I don't know what the fuck I was thinking you guys were trying to show me. How the fuck did I dodge that? Yeah, to be fair, I didn't actually jump there. Just where I wanted to do something. So you could tell me I gotta be quicker than that? That wasn't quick enough? Do I even have to go on the branch to show what's it called? No, wait, no cap. Do I gotta be faster than that? You got the decimal son? I didn't? I didn't see shit. What the frick do you guys see a sheet and I don't? Am I supposed to get the... Okay, let's just clarify some sheet. Am I supposed to get the sign in the motherfucking air or behind them? Because I wasn't paying attention in the air. I was just trying to get behind that beach. Aw. What the frick did you call it? Sekiro Souls, right? So I'm renaming my shit to that. Alright, so yeah, again, is this sheet supposed to be in the motherfucking air, or do I have to actually backstep for shit? Because I'm not paying attention to the freaking air. I was just trying to just go behind that bitch. Ow. You look from there? Okay, I guess I'll look from there now. I wasn't even freaking paying attention there. Ow. Ow, shit. Can you just die, please? Thank you. Alright. Round 17,000. What the food? Okay, nah. This game is freaking rigged. I didn't see shit. There's no way I messed that up. There's no shot I didn't see shit. Need to click? What? Oh no, she gotta click. Bitch, I was clicking. Oh, well, I mean, I have 2 fair. I was kind of waiting for the little icon. Yeah, what the fuck? What? Bitch, I give up too. What the fuck? I'm getting false advertisement. This guy needs to. No, I'm getting false advertisement. Cheap. God damn, homie, can you just freaking calm down for a second? How the Hey. I'm not talking about that. That was the one. That was not a legit run. I should take off 2 deaths from that. Fuck that run. All right. That doesn't count. Oh, you beast. I decided to go for the other shit. Shit. Not time to cough. Shut up. Alright. God, dude, getting those parries is so freaking satisfying. Get your dumb ass up. It's not a thrust. Oh, look, I dodged. Oh. A bad time to heal there. I'm going for 200 attempts without changing his strategy. Look, my new Look, nah. Here's. I got this. That's a double. You gotta know that after fighting him 20 times. That is not a. What? What? Food, come on. At this point, I don't even freaking know. Fook. That new strategy, start from behind. I never will. I give up. Freaking message. I don't need no help. Watch, I'll do freaking 3. I don't give a shit. Watch this. Watch this shit. Freaking super freaking little shortcut shit. Freaking stupid shortcut. Freaking mom. Bitch. Bitch. like that sheet, huh? Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. That's not a thrust. Oh, yeah. That is not a dodge. That's not a... It's not a thrust. Oh, fuck. I didn't get a revive. Watch this. I'm fucking starting this one. Watch this sheet. Oh. It's now we're doing this shit again. Okay, we're back. Oh. Ow. Okay. God damn, can you just stop doing that shit? Holy shit, my guy. What? Okay, now it's... Okay, now this isn't fair because this is all new. Dude, can you stop doing those attacks? I can't dodge that shit, my guy. Okay, nah, that wasn't fair. That was the first time I've seen that shit. That wasn't fair. That was a pretty good attempt, I'm not gonna lie. Shit. You got the Death Wish sound? Okay, no cap. Can you freaking clip that sheet? Because I don't see it. Like, no cap, dude. I don't see shit, bro. I don't know where the frick you guys are singing it. I mean, I know. Frick, I don't know. I blame Bagel. He made me play Dark Souls. That's why this is happening. Oh, shit. It's not a thrust. God, what is the fucking slow ass attack? Get your dumb ass up, bitch. Get your ass over here. Here, run your little sheep. Frickin' oh my god. Okay, no. That time I saw it. No. Okay, no. I agree. I suck. No, that time I saw it. I just flipped up. Okay, no. Can you stop? No. Okay, no, I agree. It's just so. Oh! Alright, guys, I got it. Guys, I got it. Oh, we still gotta do this bullshit. God damn. No, okay, look. I can explain. That shit wasn't there before. Ow. Shit. Why? Why do you gotta do that? Why you gotta do that? Like, I'm over here. Ow! What? Okay. I didn't dodge that. Oh, you're gonna get up, maybe? I don't mean. Ooh. Okay, nah, no cap. I'm not even joking with you. That's the first time I've seen that stupid freaking death blow sheet. And that whole sheet. I'm no cap. Like, I'm being freaking dead serious. I have not seen that sheet until right then and there. Okay. So we can narrow it down to 2, but the last one is a freaking pain in the ass. Last one's a pain in the ass. Oh. Hey, I did it. I'm not garbage. Oh! I did it again. Oh. It's pretty easy once if you actually do the right sheet. Oh! Oh, would you look at that? Oh. Oh look, I'm playing the game. Oh, come on, Beats. Just freaking get your ass down. Shit, sorry. Okay, nah. There's no way that she would. Nah. I would have done. Nah. This game's freaking rigged. I would have saw she. There's no cap that she was there the whole time. Okay, that was good. Oh, there's a thing called, dodging. Like, getting the fuck out of the goddamn way. I should probably start doing that. Really bad time to heal, and I'm gonna do it again now. Got good reaction time here. Let's keep the ball rolling with the reaction time, alright? Doing pretty good. Oh, look! Do it again. Oh, wow. You didn't do a very good job there. Wow, what a way to start. I don't think I like this very much. I don't think I like this very much. What the? I don't like that very much. I just... Goddamn, homie! Okay, you can't stagger that. Good to know. You can't. Apparently, I didn't. 2 times in a row? He clicked 2 times in a row? Sheesh. Nah, bro. There's no freaking shot that she was there before. I'm watching my sheet back. Holy shit, it's 8 o'clock. Bro, look. I am jumping. Alright, this game is rigged. Alright, there's a delay on my keyboard. I'm just kidding. I will go for one more attempt here. Bro, there's no chance that freaking thing was there before. Because I would have seen that sheet, bro. I'm pretty blind, but I ain't that freaking blind. There's no freaking shot. Oh, guys, you jump. Reward myself for the most basic freaking moves. That is a thrust attack. Can we get through? I pressed jump. I don't know if you saw the animation. I thought it was what's it called. Dude, there's no way I'm gonna stop talking about it. I'm just gonna stop talking about it. There's no freaking shot. press jump? I think. I press jump there too? Alright. Why do you gotta start off with that, dude? It's freaked out. That's terror? Oh. Oh. Well, that makes things. I didn't even know what that was. That's terror. I didn't know that. Oh. All right. That's terror. Okay. All right. I feel like today has been overall an okay day. How many bosses did we actually kill today? We killed that memory, right? Yeah. We killed one memory today. I think that's a plus. Yeah, dude, I'm freaking calling this sheet Sekiro ring. Oh, fuck, I forgot what the fuck is some. What'd you freaking name that sheet again? How the motherfucker I remember that sheet? There's no chance it was this far back. What the fuck did you call that sheet, Bagel? Sekiro Souls. That's what I'm calling it.